I'm currently managing over $200,000 per month for my own concrete business and for other contractors within my marketing agency, and it's generating over $4 million per month of revenue. And in this video, I'm gonna be breaking down my lead tier list system, ranking my top ways of marketing, and showing you guys where I'm gonna be spending my marketing dollars for 2025. I'm gonna be breaking down each lead, starting with social media ads, based on these ranking factors to determine their money-making potential. Starting with social media ads, that's Facebook ads, Instagram ads, TikTok ads, and we're gonna go with the quality first and foremost, and I'm going to say a 4. And so one of the recurring themes you guys are gonna see in this video are quality is gonna be by far the most important, because if you get a lead and it's just a name and a number, but they don't actually want your work, then it is not going to be the best. But with that being said, social media ads, there's different ways to do them. For instance, if I run a Facebook Messenger ad, the quality is probably as low as like a 3, but you're gonna get really cheap lead costs. However, if I use social media, send it to a separate landing page, and then convert on there, then my quality jumps all the way up to like 7 or 8. So a lot of this stuff is gonna take a little bit of explaining, but again, this is just the way that I look at it, and hopefully it can help educate you too. So with that being said, social media ads, if you go the cheap route and just want the cheapest cost per lead, it's probably like a 4 or 5 as far as quality, but the scalability is at a 9. Basically what the best part about social media ads is, let's just say if you're doing $30 a day, and from that you're getting 1 lead per day, and that generates $1 million of revenue, well guess what? All you have to do is bump up your social media budget from $30 a day to $60 a day, and reliably you should get about double the amount of leads, which is why the scalability is so important. Next is gonna be the cost. And again, this is gonna all be determined based on what type of social media ad that you're really doing. So for me, that could be anywhere between $20 and $130 per lead. And the biggest factor that's gonna be dependent on the cost is, for instance, like a direct message lead, that's gonna be anywhere from like 10 to 30 bucks per lead, unbelievably cheap, but most of those will not turn into jobs. So this would be probably closer to like a 2 to 3 quality. Versus if I do a social media lead ad and I'm sending it to a landing page, maybe my lead cost might be upwards of $100 to $130, but then the quality jumps up to like a 7 or 8. So that is part of the things that we even do at Contractor CEO when we work with our clients, is we really try to figure out, okay, how much are we trying to balance the cost per lead versus the quality. Next is difficulty, and we are gonna be ranking on a scale of 1 being super difficult, 10 being very easy. I know it's a little confusing, but the higher the score, the better. So with social media, this is probably one of the easiest ways to market if you wanna do this yourself, especially if it's just Messenger. Facebook has came a long way. If you wanna learn how to do Facebook ads, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and I'm gonna be doing an in-depth tutorial basically on how we run our Facebook ads later in the future. Speed is basically gonna be how fast you're gonna go from having no leads to as many leads as you want. And with Facebook and Instagram ads, that is almost that's almost instant. So if you decided that you wanted leads tomorrow, you could basically set up an account today, run your ads, and by tomorrow morning, everything's gonna be approved and you should be getting leads as long as you do it correctly. And then lastly is tracking. If you can't track your leads, then it's gonna be really hard to determine if it's working or if it's not working. And with Facebook and Instagram ads, is unbelievably easy, giving this a 10. And with all of these factors being considered, Facebook and Instagram and social ads in general are gonna be my first one that are going on the S tier. All right, so let's go on to our next one. The next one that we got is the all too common pay per lead services. So we have things like Angie Leads, Home Advisor, Thumbtack, anything where you're paying per lead, that's what we're about to be ranking. So this is by far, in my opinion, one of the worst quality leads that you can get. But as we're about to discover, the reason why still a lot of people do this is for everything else, and it's gonna be up to you to determine where you're at in your business and how useful you want it to be. The reason why these leads are so low quality is based on what they see before they become a lead. If you wanna look it up, for instance, type in, like I'm a concrete person, so if I type in concrete driveway replacement costs near me, Angie Leads pops up almost every single time. And then it takes the consumer to an article and it tells the consumer, hey, to get a driveway replacement, you're looking anywhere between like $4 and $8 per square foot, which is obviously, if you're a concrete guy, you know that is unbelievably cheap. And then what they do is right after they say the cost, they say, fill out this form to get multiple quotes from other contractors to see like what your actual cost is. And so they fill out the form. They're not actually expecting to be bombarded by like 5 separate contractors. And on top of that, they saw such a cheap price. Home Advisor and Angie and Thumbtack, they're all motivated to get the cheapest cost per lead possible. And so they do that by providing people false information, basically giving them high hopes that replacing a driveway is like $2,500, only for them to be disappointed when you as the contractor call them and say $5,000 when you're also bidding against 4 other people. But here is where they actually do benefit quite a bit. Is number 1, scalability. I'm gonna put it at an 8. Same thing with social media and Facebook ads. If you tell Home Advisor and Thumbtack and all of them, hey, I wanna spend $4,000 a month, and if my average lead cost is $80, you could basically get like 50 leads a month. And so it does scale up to be probably, depending on your area and how busy it is. When I used to use them, I was getting anywhere between 30 and 60 leads a month, and it's all based on your budget. And so what I like about them and what is convenient is how easy is that? You basically just say, hey, I want to have 30 leads. They say, cool, our average lead cost is $80. So you're going to spend $2,400 a month in marketing. And if you want more leads, you just bump up your budget. The next is cost. And with cost, you're going to pay anywhere between $25 and $200 for a lead. And what Home Advisor and Angie, what they do and what makes a lot of sense for their business model is, if, for instance, if I'm in concrete and I want to buy a concrete repair lead, that's probably as cheap as $25, because let's be honest, there's not that much money in concrete repair. However, if I want to buy a concrete foundation lead where my average job is between $30,000 and $50,000, then they're going to be charging me a lot more for that lead. So the cost is actually relatively good, in my opinion. If you want an easy way just to get someone's name and number and have a shot at winning business, this is not an absurd lead cost. It is not that. But where you have to determine if it's worth it is the lead cost compared to the lead quality. Because maybe you're going to need 10 to 20 Home Advisor and Angie leads to get one sale, versus if you're a word of mouth lead, which we're going to go over later, you might only need 3 of those to get a sale. And this is where the pay per lead services really shine. This is why they get so many people to say yes to using their service. Is the difficulty, I put it a 9. It is very easy. The speed, I put it a 9, and the tracking is a 10. And so let's talk about those. It is as easy as calling Home Advisor or Angie leads. All you have to say is, hey, I want leads, and I want them as soon as possible. The salesman says, great, give me your credit card. They're gonna do a background check on you, which is kind of a BS background check. They don't actually do a real background check. And they set you up an account. They make sure that your credit card works. So when they send you a lead, then you pay them, and you basically start getting leads immediately. So it is unbelievably easy. It is unbelievably fast, and the tracking is great. But that's how they get most people to say yes. But then the problem is everyone's like, hey, I'm used to getting word of mouth leads, which close at a really high rate, and then I get these leads. And to close these leads, you have to be exceptional at sales. You have to be exceptionally fast, and most likely, you have to be exceptionally priced if you really want to win jobs on these platforms. Do I see people that do it? 100%. I see people that do it that make it work, but for 90+% of people, this is not a good system. Which is why I am going to rank pay per lead, and it all depends on the business. In my business, I'm 100% not gonna do that, but if you're brand new and you want something that's easy, fast, not difficult, and your prices are cheap, maybe these guys would work. I am going C tier for pay per lead services. All right, next up on the list, most contractors' favorite thing, word of mouth, okay? We're gonna go over word of mouth. So, the quality of the lead is a 10. We all know that if you're going to be getting a word of mouth lead, what is better than getting a lead who already knows that you're good? You don't have to even do any of the selling. A lot of people, when they get used to word of mouth, it is extremely difficult for them to do other things. Like, for instance, social media ads. Why? Because a social media ad, yes, the quality is okay, but you have to sell them. You can't just say, hey, Mrs. Jones, your price is $5,000, and then they're gonna just sign your contract just because they were recommended by a friend, so they already trust you, okay? But the nice part is, with word of mouth, if that's where you're getting your leads, or that's where you're getting some of your leads, the quality is obviously amazing. So that's where word of mouth wins. But almost exact opposite of pay per lead, scalability is basically non-existent, in my opinion. I mean, how are you supposed to get more word of mouth leads? Some people argue, well, you just have to do amazing work and then people are going to tell all of their friends. Okay, let's just say if you're in concrete, how often does someone buy concrete in their life? 2, 3 times, maybe. Some people a lot more, some people maybe never, okay? Concrete is a permanent thing. Most people are not buying it very often. But with that being said, if someone's gonna buy from me and they really like me, it's not like, when was the last time you've ever bought anything and it was so amazing, you stopped everything you're doing and you called all of your friends and told them to buy it? Probably never, okay? With the exception of maybe Chick-fil-A. But outside of that, when's the last time you ever did anything like that? Probably never, okay? Which is why it's not scalable. It takes so long. Which, speaking of which, with the speed, because I just talked about it, it is so slow. There are so many people who have built up businesses and huge, amazing businesses off word of mouth. But be prepared for it to take decades, not a year, not 2 years, not days, not what everyone says in contracting where I'm gonna go do one person's driveway and then 5 people on the same street are gonna call me right away. If that were true, all you would need is one job. That job would turn into 5. That job would turn into 25. Those 25 would turn into 125. And then from there, right, 500 projects. And you would be at 500 projects within maybe a year or 2, but that is 100% not how it works. I don't care how good you are or anything, it just takes time, okay? So this is an amazing system, but it's what you have on the back burner while you're doing the other things, in my opinion. Next is the cost. This is obviously free, with the exception. This is the one thing that I want to point out. I almost want to star this. I don't think that word of mouth is actually that free. Because in my opinion, why do people refer most contractors? Because they are the cheap Joe Schmo. And this happened to me. When I was first in business, we were the cheap guy in town because I thought, hey, I'm going to provide a great quality product and a great quality service. And from that, we got a lot of word of mouth leads. But the reason why I'm starring the cost, because even though the leads were free, you know what was not free is everyone that was calling me was expecting a cheap price. Because this is what people would say to their friends. They say, hey, if you want a patio, you should call Tyler. Because if you call Tyler, he's gonna be able to get you a patio for really dirt cheap. So although you're not paying for the lead, you may be paying for not being able to sell high quality jobs. It all depends on what you're known for. If you're known for being cheap, the cost is gonna be exceptionally high, even though you're not paying for the lead, but you're gonna pay for it with the result. But if you're known for super high quality, then the cost is great because then people are expecting you to be super high quality, not cheap. All right, for the difficulty, this one is a little subjective, but I'm gonna say 3 because if you really want people to refer you, then you have to try to go above and beyond to help them and basically bend over a little bit backwards for them. And that is what will actually move people to be going from happy to ecstatic. People only refer if they're ecstatic. If they're like an 8 out of 10 impressed with you, they will never refer you. They have to be a 10 out of 10, which is why I think it's personally difficult to get word of mouth leads. And then tracking, also very difficult. Even if you ask people, how did you hear about me? If it was a word of mouth thing, they may say that, or they might just say, oh yeah, you know, I heard about you, but I also saw your trucks. You know, people maybe saw a lot of things, so tracking is a 2. So, but with all that being said, even though you have poor scalability, it's difficult, meaning you have to go above and beyond to service people to get a lot of them. The speed takes forever, and the tracking is bad because the lead quality is so high. This is by far your best place to get leads. I still rank word of mouth as a B. Next up on the list, one of my personal favorites, but what most people, they don't understand because of the outsized returns, and we're about to get into that. And it is branding, okay? So branding is difficult. And when I say branding, by the way, that's like your logo. It's yard signs, truck wraps, your website. It's things that people are gonna judge you based on your appearance. It's having branded hoodies, right? Versus having a Carhartt hoodie. If you have your brand on your hoodie, well, that is technically branding. And yes, this costs money, but that is what it is, okay? So in my opinion, people that are looking for brands are some of the best quality leads. I would say a 9 out of 10, just short of word of mouth. And the reason is, if someone is calling someone for their brand, then what are they expecting? And this is what I want to like kind of convey the way that I look at leads, is I want to know, what is the person calling me for? Are they calling me because they got referred to me because I'm a cheap freaking contractor? Are they calling me because of my crappy brand and they think that because my brand's crappy that I'm cheap? And on the other end of the spectrum, if I have a high quality website, they see that all of my trucks are wrapped and I keep them in very good order. I use yard signs, I have a good logo. They're not gonna call me and expect me to be cheap. And if they are, then they're kind of just stupid. But for the most part, most people, if they see a really good brand, they associate that with high quality and they're willing to pay for that, which is why I think some of the top quality leads come from branding. All right, scalability. This one's a little weird, but we have to rank this at a 5. So just kind of like word of mouth, if you wrap a truck, it's gonna be relatively high cost now, but low cost later, which is why I ranked cost actually as an 8. And to me, these go hand in hand, and let me explain. So a lot of you are like, Tyler, a high quality website's expensive. True. Tyler, wrapping a truck is expensive. It's like $5,000. Yes, it is. But here's the thing. Why I rank the cost high is because it's a low cost over time. Okay? So if I want, say, 1,000 leads over the next 10 years, 100 leads a year, that might come from a branded truck. So now I'm gonna have 1,000 leads from $5,000. If you can't tell, that is a really cheap cost per lead considering the quality. The one bad thing though is it does take a long time, okay? It takes time to build a brand. You don't just start off day one and you have the best brand. What a lot of people don't understand is they say, why is my competitor in the area and I didn't get to see there? I had a company in my area doing about $20 million a year and their brand was stupid. It was literally just a letter and then concrete. I'm not gonna say it because I don't want people to know who it is, but it was just a letter and then concrete, okay? And my customers would pay so much for them and I was like, why are you doing that? And I didn't get it. I was like, I have a nice website, I have the stuff, but what I didn't realize is it just takes time, okay? They've been in business for the last 50 years and that's something that you just cannot replace. But what can you do to speed it up? You can do things like all of this. Is it gonna cost you a lot of money at first? Yes. Is it gonna cost you a lot of money over the long run? No, okay? So it's a long-term investment. And with that being said, it is relatively difficult. I have yet to meet a contractor that did their own website, their own logo, they did their own apparel, and it looks amazing, okay? At the end of the day, we're blue-collar people. Even if you're a business-minded person and you're running your business, you are probably not a website designer, you're not a graphic designer, you're not that. So you probably, this is one of the things you should probably hire out, but it depends what phase of business you're in. If you're young and you have no money and you're trying to do sweat equity, maybe this isn't what you do. But when you have some money, what's one of the best investments you could make? Branding, okay? That being said, tracking also very poor. But with all that being said, what did I rank branding as? Mystery. I said an A. And again, although we have some problems with scalability and speed, the cost per lead is probably one of the best over the course of time, and especially given the quality, which is why I put it at an A. All right, the next one is also one of my favorites. We got Google Ads. So starting off with Google Ads, first and foremost, we got quality, okay? One of my favorite things about Google Ads, although you have to pay for it, maybe it's a lot more expensive than a word of mouth lead. It's more expensive than a branding lead. But this is one of the lead sources, in my opinion, that you can pay for and you can get a quality lead right off the bat. So a lot of this, guys, don't just listen to what I'm saying. Try to really, to be a really good business owner, even if you hire your marketing out, you want to understand the philosophy of it. Again, it's just like anything else. Even like what I said, a word of mouth lead could be a bad lead. It depends on what they are seeing or hearing before they call you. Same thing with Google Ads. Why is the quality high, although it's an ad? It's because someone is going into Google and they're typing in something like driveway cost near me, driveway contractor near me. They are showing buying interest. They're not saying, oh, should I get a driveway or a paver patio? They're not typing in things research. They're typing in keywords that show that they are ready to spend money now, which is why I think the quality is an 8. Also, on the scalability side, this is one of the most scalable things that you could do. If you want more leads, all you have to do is bump up your Google Ads budget and bump up the area that you're serving, and you can scale your leads. That's one of the best parts. if you nail Google Ads and at first you only need to do, say, $25,000 a month, but then over time you're like, man, now I want to do $250,000 a month. I've seen companies do upwards of $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a month just from Google Ads by itself, nothing else. Extremely scalable. So that's one of my favorite things about it. The cost. So, a lead cost on Google Ads, it is going to be a little bit more pricey. Let's just say anywhere from $100 to $150 a lead, which sounds pricey, but again, it's all dependent on the quality, the scalability, etc. So if you want to pay for a quality lead, you have Google Ads, which is a little bit more per lead than say like a home advisor, but then your quality goes from a 2 to like an 8. So there is a trade-off. Difficulty. This is something that you probably cannot do yourself. I can't tell you how many people that I meet and they call me for help with marketing, or they're just like, Tyler, I don't know what's going on. You said Google Ads, it's so good, but I'm doing it myself. And dude, like Google Ads sucks. I'm not getting any leads. I'm like, okay, so let's take a step back here. Google Ads itself is amazing. But if you are doing Google Ads wrong, which is extremely easy, it is terrible, okay? And here's the reason. A lot of people don't understand this. It's not just about Google Ads, because Google Ads is just a cost per click. But it's everything from, I have to generate the right click, I have to get enough clicks so my cost per click isn't super expensive, and then on top of that, when I send them to a website or a landing page, my website or landing page has to be quality enough to turn the traffic into a lead. For instance, some of my top performing campaigns, I'm getting 1 out of every 4 or 1 out of every 5 people to click on a landing page to become a lead. I've seen some people where it takes them 100, 200 clicks to get a lead because their website and their landing page sucks, or the traffic that they're sending is the wrong type of traffic, okay? This is extremely difficult. If you're going to do this yourself, be prepared to spend a lot of time learning it, doing a lot of time doing things like negative keywords. It's great, but be careful. That's my warning, okay? Speed, 9, tracking, 10. Just like Facebook, actually, you know what? I'm making an audible right now. Speed is an 8, it's not a 9. Because even when people are going to do this, it takes a long time to set up. And when I say a long time, it's like a week and a half. And so if you're like, Tyler, a week and a half, that takes forever. Dude, you gotta take your mindset from days to decades, okay? So in the context of a decade, this is extremely fast. You could get ads up and running within, say, like a week and a half, 2.5 weeks, okay? If you are relatively proficient and all that. That includes the landing page design, all that stuff. The tracking is a 10, but with all that being said, if you do Google Ads right, it is going up in the S tier bucket. And with all that being said, like I said, it is by far the highest quality lead that you could get, the fastest for the most affordable price, even being a little bit more expensive. If you want to pay for leads, Google Ads is the way to get the most quality. All right, next up on the docket, we got social posting, okay? Oh. Next up, we got social posting. So that's like posting on Instagram, posting on Facebook, posting TikToks. Also, don't forget about platforms like Nextdoor, House. These are platforms where people are going in their local area to find things like contractor services, etc. So let's get right into it. I think the quality is, again, very high. If someone is going to your Instagram, they're following your page, they see your content for a very long time, and they reach out, they're probably a very high quality lead because they see that you do quality work, and that's why they're calling you. The scalability, however, is, in my opinion, and I know some people are going to disagree with me on this, is a 4. Here's the deal. I know some people who are getting, say, $200,000 to $300,000 a month off social media posting, not ads. This is posting. This is me taking out my phone, being on a job site, recording a story. Hey, this is Tyler. We got a driveway going on, and look at all the cool stuff that we're doing. And then people are following my page and reaching out. I've met people doing $200,000 to $300,000, sometimes more than that per month, just off social media posting. But with that being said, I think it is by far and away the exception. I've met so many more business owners that are successful from branding, website, Google Ads, Facebook ads, etc. In my opinion, this is extremely hard to do. And on top of that, it takes a long time, just like anything else, right? Like, if you want this to be successful, not only is it going to take a long time to build up an audience, but it's also going to take a long time per week, right? Like, imagine you call me up at Contractor CEO, you hire us for Facebook ads. This is not a promotion, I'm just hypothetical. And let's just say you say, Tyler, I want to get leads now. I could get you leads in 7 days, 14 days, okay? I could get you leads super fast. But with this, if you want to do this, man, be prepared to put in 3 to 5 hours of work per week, editing videos, filming, replying to people, all of that, and not seeing a high level of return until way later. It takes a ton of freaking time. I'd argue longer than branding, okay? Cost is obviously going to be a 10, and again, I'm going to star this. So, a lot of people say, oh, well, I post on social media, I get free leads. What's the one thing you gotta consider with cost? Is your time free as a business owner? Mine's not, but are you valuing your time at all? And so this is my argument against social media, which again, I know a lot of people have totally opposite views, and I get it. This is just my opinion. If I wanted to spend 3 to 5 hours a week doing something, I would rather spend 3 to 5 hours a week selling jobs versus being on my phone and trying to educate a client. Don't get me wrong, does that work? Yes. If you're brand new in business and you don't have money, you can't do things like social media ads, Google ads. Will this work? Yes. Does it take a ton of time? Yes. Does it cost you anything monetary-wise? No. But does it cost you for time and attention? Yes. That's why I'm putting a star. Difficulty, in my opinion, it's a 9. And the only reason I say that is because I found very, very few people who do this successfully, which is why I call it difficult. It's more of an art versus a technical skill, which for me is what makes it so difficult. Something like Google Ads is difficult, but that's a science, right? That's numbers. That's so easy, in my opinion. This is an art. So you have to be good. You have to be the right type of personality. Most would say, I'm a crappy influencer, right? So I'm not a good social media personality. And there are some people that are like that. So if you're like that, if you're great on camera, maybe it's easier for you. For me, extremely difficult. And then lastly, tracking, I'm just gonna say is a 4. I'm not gonna say it's terrible. You could obviously figure out people that are coming from social media, but most people who go from social media to a website, they don't convert immediately, which is why the tracking isn't great. Which is why I am going to rank social media, again, as a C. I know this is gonna be very controversial because I see other influencers, I see other people out there and they're saying, this is the wave, this is what you should do. Only if you have a long time, and you know the other reason why social media influencers tell you why this is so great? Because they are very good at social media and they forget what it takes for the average blue collar person to be on there building an audience. It's not so simple. All right, next up we have SEO. All right, with SEO leads, these are again, one of the highest quality. And just so you know, if you don't know what SEO is, it just stands for search engine optimization. All that really means is, let's just say if you have a website, that doesn't really mean that people will find you. So SEO is the process of getting Google to rank your website from the 5th page up to the 1st page. So that's everything from blogging, title tags, meta tags, etc. Okay? So the quality is very good, but we have some issues, including the scalability. A lot of people don't know this because I don't talk about this, but for a while, before I was doing marketing for other people, I actually had a full-time person doing SEO for me. I was paying him $60,000 a year to write articles, write content, do things like post stuff for us. And we actually became one of the top ranked concrete websites in the world. And the reason why I say it's unscalable, and the reason why I also stopped doing that, by the way, was because I was getting leads from Texas, from Missouri, from Kansas, because they would see an article of ours, and it would say something like, how much does a concrete driveway cost? And I would have an article that was like 5,000 words long, and it ranked really well on Google. And I was getting like 10,000 website visits a month. But the reason I say it's not scalable is because, one, what good does it do you if you get a lead that's not in your local area? Sure, I could call someone from Missouri and say, hey, I got a lead and I'll sell it to you for $100, but like, I'm not in the business of selling leads. I don't want to do that. So you can only get enough traffic, or as much traffic as your local area is there. Like for instance, if you're in LA, sure, if you're ranked number 1 in LA for plumber near me, you are going to be rich. You're going to be so rich. But if you're ranked number 1 in Wichita, Kansas, I mean, there's not that much search traffic. You're probably not going to get that much from it, which is why I ranked the scalability to 5. The cost, for me, I now spend $18,000 a year. So to some of you guys, that's a lot of money. To me, for what I get in return, which is probably about 200 leads a year, I actually think the cost is very good. So I'm gonna rank that as an 8. It's not the cheapest, it's one of the best ways to get quality leads, but here is the downfall of SEO, is if you start spending $1,500 a month, $1,000 a month. And guys, remember, this is probably one of the most scam industries out there, so if you are gonna hire someone for SEO, like, don't think that someone charging you $200 a month is gonna rank your website number 1. I have personally never seen it. Do not fall trap. Just because someone says that they're doing SEO for you, they may literally be doing nothing. So do your research. But the difficulty is 5. It takes a long time. Like, it's pretty difficult. It takes a long time. The tracking is good. The quality is high, and the cost is actually great for what you get. But again, it's just like anything else, where if you do it, it's a long-term investment. You're not gonna get ranked number 1 in Google. If you start paying a SEO company today, like, unless your area is super uncompetitive, which probably not, it's gonna take 6 to 12 months to see results, which is a long time. So with all that being said, I think SEO is good. I do not think it's great. I'm going to rank it a B, because if you wanna get high quality leads for a good cost over time, it's great. But the problem is, it takes time, it's difficult, it can't really be scaled that much, so I'm giving it a B. Next up, I got email and text. So, and when I say email and text, that means if you are getting a lead today, and let's just say that they don't buy from you today, and you are gonna start emailing them over time, texting them over time, what I like about it is it's actually very easy. So for instance, like, I have a list of 5,000 contacts in my email list, and I can send 12 emails a year, and all I have to do is type up 12 emails, hit the send button, and I've sent all of my emails, okay? So I'm gonna say the difficulty is actually relatively simple. I'm gonna rank that a 9. The quality though, when I am following up with email and text, the quality is gonna be really dependent on, 1, how long they've been following you, and what it's for. Like for instance, one of the fastest ways, so I know I'm kind of jumping all over the place, but I'm trying to explain it as I'm going. Like for instance, let me give you guys a story. 1 month ago, I was running low in work in my concrete business. So what did I do? I said, oh my God, I'm running low. What am I doing? I can't really bump up social media ads, Google ads. Like, I can't just get more leads. Like, I need people right now. So what did I do? I literally typed up a text. I sent it out to my 5,000 contact list, and within one day, I got 30 leads. There is nothing that you can do that will get you leads faster if you have a contact list than doing like a text blast. With that being said, the scalability is very low, because here's the thing. I can't text people all the time with some crazy hot promotion. Just so you guys know, what I did is I literally said, hey, the season's almost over. We're running a special 10% off. Show this text to an estimator and claim 10% off. So 1, although the cost of the lead was basically free, it cost us almost nothing to send out that text blast, I had to get 10% off of my services to fill the hole in my calendar, okay? Which is why I'm going to rank text and email as a 7 with cost, because at the end of the day, it's almost impossible, or it's very uncostly to send. But in my opinion, if you're just emailing people and texting them and you don't give them a reason to buy, like a discount, then it's never going to turn into a lead. So you're paying with the discount of your services, you're not paying to send out email and text. And then tracking, last thing, we're gonna give that a 9. It's basically super trackable. If you send out a text and the person replies to your text and they become a lead, then you know that that lead came from email and text. With all that being said, the reason why I'm gonna rank this where I'm going to rank it is because this is something that you can do right now, today, to get leads. but the cost isn't great, the quality isn't always the best. But if you need immediate leads and you want to build up a list over time, and you want to make your Google ads and your social ads and your branding and word of mouth, and you want to make all of that go further, then you add this in on the back end, because that helps you convert more leads down the line. Last thing that we have, and I thought about not even adding this because to me, this isn't a lot of a strategy. The only reason I'm even adding this is because I see this post in like Facebook groups all the time. I see like a young 16-year-old, an 18-year-old, and they say, oh, hey guys, like I just opened up my business, like I'm gonna print out some flyers. Okay, so the quality you're gonna get from a flyer, in my opinion, I think 5 is actually very gracious. I'm tempted to change my mind and lower it right on the spot, because what type of person is going to give you business from flyers and door knocking? Hey, with the exception, if you're in roofing, this is one of the best ways to get business, but I'm talking to almost all the other trades out there. The only reason that someone are going to call you based on a flyer or based on door knocking is if they think that you're gonna be cheap. And to be honest, I do the same thing. Like I have a kid mow my yard for me. He passed out flyers and I wanted to support him. I'm like, 1, he's gonna be cheap and I don't really care to spend very much money on mowing my lawn. But 2, I'm just trying to support a young entrepreneur. And so, but if he came back to me and he's like, hey, it's gonna be $80 a month or $80 a week to cut your grass, I'd be like, no, dude, at that point I'm gonna pay for a serious company to do it, right? So the quality of person that you're gonna get from these are pretty bad. Scalability, I'm gonna say pretty dang poor, right? Unless you're hiring people to door knock for you or flyer, which would shoot up your cost incredibly. I mean, you're only one person. What's the max that you're gonna be able to do per day? Like pass out 200, 500, max of 1,000 flyers. And from that, if your response rate is like 0.1%, which I think is pretty typical, then even from passing out 1,000 flyers, I think, what does that convert to? To 10 leads, and the leads are gonna be very mediocre, and it's gonna be a lot of sweat equity, okay? So very unscalable. The cost is technically, this is a lot of cheap, this is very cheap, but remember, you're paying for this with your time, not with money. Like the cost to print out flyers is almost nothing, but you're gonna be paying for it with sweat equity. Difficulty, man, I don't know about you guys, but doing this is not very fun. Passing out flyers, all that. It's not technically difficult, it just takes a long time. It takes a lot of effort if you want to see results from it. The speed is, we are going to say also mid-tier, okay? Because again, if you want to do this, this is something that like, you can't just go pass out flyers and win work tomorrow. That's not how that works. Most likely they're gonna pass out flyers, people are gonna put it at their house. They're gonna think about it, they may call you later, they may not. It's gonna take time. And then obviously the tracking is also not great. But with all of these considered, like I said, I almost considered not even putting this on here. I personally hate this strategy. I would do everything else on those lists before I did this, with the exception, if you're young, you have a lot of energy, all you have is time and you have no money, then you could do this. But if you have money and you respect your time, then I would start this way, okay? So that's kind of the spectrum. But with that being said, this is a little bit of a different style video. I hope that you guys like it. Let me know in the comments, please. Tell me, do you guys like this? If you don't tell me this, I'm not gonna do videos like this. But if you like it, I will do more stuff like this. So with that being said, hope this was helpful. I'll see you in the next one.